collective attention spans are getting lower and lower every single day, and so if someone's calling you interesting, that is the compliment of highest value. That means that you not only have engaged someone, but you've made them think. And so what do interesting people have in common? They're cool, and cool people have hobbies. And I am what you would call a serial hobbyist. I love hobbies. Hobbies are my absolute favorite things. I love the process of that kernel that pops into your head after you seeing and or interested about something, all the way to learning about what that hobby is and slowly but surely getting better at that hobby and seeing your improvements as time goes on. I love that kind of work, and I love the rewarding factors that come with hobbies. And not only that, hobbies make you interesting. That is what sets you apart from other people, because when other people have finished their full day's work or education, they've decided maybe they just want to doom scroll, have dinner and go to bed, whereas you've taken some time out, you've carved that time out to put some love, care and effort into something that you're passionate about. It gives you something to talk about. People are interested in whatever you're passionate about. I recently watched a video about red snail eggs and how they're laying on certain trees because of a guy that's very passionate about how hard these eggs are on the environment and how passionate he is about making sure that these snails don't take over the woods and ruin all the wildlife. And the only reason I remembered all of that is because of how passionate he was about his subject. And so I think in order to be interesting, in order to be cool in 2024, you need to have. One of the hardest parts of being an adult is definitely time management. I work full time and I know the perils of being a cog in the capitalist hellscape we call life. But something that I learned during my final year of uni was that I'm not a happy person if I don't have my fun little thing to look forward to at some point during the day. I'm not the most organized person in the world, but I am deeply selfish and I need to make myself happy or I lose all sense of self, which is why all of these hobbies are relatively easy to fit into a busy lifestyle. The first hobby that I'm going to be talking about today is reading. Reading has been my most stable hobby ever since I was a child. I've loved reading, and I think it's because there's just so much variety within this hobby. You have different mediums, so you have audiobooks and e-readers and graphic novels, and you have endless amounts of genres from romance to self-help, and so you're constantly looking for the next best thing. My advice for getting into reading, especially if you're in a 9-to-5 or you're in a full-time education, is to read what you genuinely like. I know this sounds so obvious, but there have been these stigmas around entire genres like romance and even mediums like audiobooks and graphic novels. And these things really don't matter, especially if it's just a hobby. You are doing things for you and you're finding enjoyment in your day for you. So cancel out those voices and focus on the thing that you're enjoying. In that same vein, you should also be ruthless, especially if you don't like something, because time is a finite thing. You're not going to get it back, and it's not fun to read things that you're not enjoying. So DNF books, it's okay. I am telling you this from a recovering completionist who had to finish every single book that she started, but it's just not fun, and sometimes a book just isn't the one that you want, and it's okay. And finally, and my most important piece of advice, is to utilize your local libraries. Libraries are a utopian idea, you guys. If you went to any politician in 2024 and you mentioned this publicly funded space where you could get free resources like books and the internet, they would laugh you out of the room. So please use them. And most of them have really cool applications these days that you can borrow ebooks and audiobooks from the comfort of your own home. And because of how expensive audiobooks are, you should definitely utilize this. Audiobooks in particular are super fun because you just have to put some headphones on and then you're immersed into like this whole different world. I highly recommend this one by Jessie Q Sutanto. It's so funny. It's a cozy mystery and it follows this old lady as she discovers a dead body in her shop. It's so funny. It's so funny. I just bet all of the people that don't really like reading, you just don't know. You just don't know how good it could be. Try this one. Try this one. Try this one and let me know. It's so funny. It's so funny. Not only that, with audiobooks, you can definitely do something which is called habit stacking, which is where you do something that you like, which is listening to books like me, and then you do something that you don't like cleaning your room. So that's something else that I do sometimes, and I usually just put an audiobook on and I listen, and the time goes by a little bit faster. And it's also just a bit more fun than listening to book playlists all the time. It's a little variation in your day. I've been journaling consistently since last year, and it's been a really nice part of my daily routine. Most of my day is spent in front of some sort of screen, so to actually have pen and paper and to be able to physically do something with my hands is really rewarding for me. I've also really lent into doodling and rejecting aesthetics or perfection within these notebooks. This is a safe space for me to colour outside of the lines and just do whatever it is I want to do. And if sometimes that isn't a Pinterest masterpiece, that's okay. I love to journal just before I go to bed, so this is very much part of my nighttime routine, and I would describe the feeling that I get very much akin to when you're emptying out your laptop or your phone and then finally clicking empty bin, and that satisfying crunch sound that your laptop puts out when you finally put everything in the bin and it's all gone. You're kind of getting rid of these burdens that you didn't even know you were holding on to, so now you've got like more memory on your phone and also more space in your brain to just move on with your day. That's what journaling feels like. I think so much, and sometimes it's just good to have thoughts on paper, so I will write everything down. And the way that I structure my journaling is I do the date at the top. I love doing the date because it feels like I'm in school again, but also because I love seeing when I've decided to put those entries in. And sometimes if I'm feeling fancy, I'll even put the time. And then I'll do a whole paragraph of like everything that I'm thinking about, things that have affected me, whether I'm happy or sad and stuff like that. I don't really have any sort of rhyme or reason. I just let myself blur out whatever it is that I'm holding on to in my brain. And then I have a dua list, so a prayer list of everything that I'm praying for and I want to be intentional about making dua for. And then I end it with everything that I'm grateful for. And it's been really lovely to see that even on really bad days, there's always something to be grateful for, and there's always something to feel thankfulness for. And it just helps me sleep. It is an especially accessible hobby because of how easy it is to do. You just need to have a notebook and a pen, nothing fancy. You probably don't even need a notebook. If you had a laptop, you could do this digitally if you'd like. I just really like walking away from the screens and spending some time with myself. And it's also so satisfying to like look back and see like all the entries that you've decided to put in, and it's just a very satisfying thing. I'm looking to get into kind of more bullet journaling, which is a little bit more drawing, which is definitely more intentional, a little bit more effort, but it's really cool and I love watching those YouTube videos. But yeah, this is how I journal. If you guys journal in a different way, please let me know, because I think I've just made up this method in my head. I think I've watched like 2 or 3 videos about it, and then I was like, okay, this is the formula I'm going with. So if you have anything that is maybe better than the way that I've been doing it, let me know, because I'm up for trying it. When I first started reading audiobooks around 2 years ago, I would cook and listen at the same time, and to me it was the perfect harmony. I got all of the fun of cooking without the horror of the never-ending extractor fan sound. But since my audiobook consumption has gotten higher and higher, I read more than I cook, so I had to find something else to do with my hands whilst I was listening to my audiobooks. I downloaded Block Blast on my phone, which is such a fun game, you guys. You just have to match up the blocks to have an entire row and then you get points. And because it's so simple, it's the perfect game to play whilst you've got an audiobook on. I finished the entirety of 5 Survive in one sitting just by playing and listening at the same time. And sometimes the juxtaposition of what you're doing and what you're consuming, like what I was listening to, is so funny. I was in my house playing my little game and my book was literally about an active shooter and what you would do to try and survive that. It's such a good audiobook though, so you should definitely read it. I also really wanted to make the most of my Switch this year. I got my Switch back in 2020 when I was going through an Animal Crossing phase. I had so much fun building my island back then, and I was watching all the YouTube videos, but since completing the game, I haven't really gone back. So recently, when my For You page on TikTok was showing me all of these cozy games, especially games to play whilst listening to audiobooks, I was completely sold. Lemon Cake was mentioned multiple times, so my lovely husband got me this for Eid. Lemon Cake book is about your character and basically they're running their own bakery. There's not many words and the stakes aren't high, so it's exactly what I want to escape into after I finish work. The graphics are also really nice. I've been listening to Circe by Madeline Miller, and let me just say, her writing, it feels like literal waves kissing my ears whenever I turn this audiobook on. I definitely think Miller's work will achieve classic status one day. And that is my video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please remember to like, share and subscribe. It really helps me out. And let me know if you're interested in maybe reading some of these books together. And that's it. I will see you guys next week. Bye guys!